Did the Devil Wears Prada just record an entire album without their guitar player's input? Is he sad about it? Does it even matter? Or is this just music industry stuff that happens all the time? We're gonna answer all those questions today. What's up, you guys? My name is Tyler Herrera, and this is Hardcore Dropout. And unless you were living under a rock last week, you may have seen some conversation on Metalcore Reddit or Metalcore Twitter about the Devil Wears Prada and their guitar player, Kyle Sipress. It all started when he made this post on Instagram saying he was learning new songs off the upcoming album from the Devil Wears Prada. And it kind of created this speculation and a lot of questions around, wait, learning these new songs, you didn't write them. So a lot of people were chattering about it. So I want to dig a little bit deeper today because I think there's some answers to this stuff, and I don't think it's as deep as the internet wants to make us believe. So it all started with this Instagram post right here where he said, spent a few days learning some of the new songs from the new Prada record. And me personally, I only saw this Reddit post about the Devil Wears Prada guitarist post video of himself learning his own band's song, comments he wasn't allowed to write or record on their new album. When I saw that, I thought, whatever, did he actually comment that he wasn't allowed to write or record on their new album? I thought it was just normal stuff. You know, a lot of bands don't have all their members write on the album. My favorite band of all time is Under Oath, and, you know, 4 of them do write, but, you know, James didn't write a whole lot. He gave his input when he was in the band. Grant doesn't write a whole lot. I'm not even sure he records bass all the time. Like, it's not uncommon for bands to have their primary songwriter, so I didn't think much of it. But then when we dive deeper into the comments, I did realize, oh, all right, it's a little peculiar, you know. So Hardcore Keem right here, this is where I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, obviously someone who's tied into the scene. He's a creator, got a big following. He plays in the Browning. He said, hope you've been well, dude, rooting for you. To me, that's like, does he know something we don't? But I think where it really kind of, you know, piqued my interest, where my antennas raised up a little bit, is this comment right here where Kyle himself says, I really appreciate that, but it just is what it is. While it does make me sad and I wish I was a part of the creative side like I used to be, I do get to play guitar on stage for a living. Hopefully my ability to play live does the job this record calls for. That is not very confidence instilling if we're talking about, you know, this guy's place in the band. It sounds like he's not too happy that he didn't write on the record. So who did write on the record then? Well, if we go take a look at their Spotify, and even, you know, if we are talking about the, you know, the sound of these new songs, to me, it was very obvious that they were working with songwriters, or at least trying to have more of a hook-driven approach on this stuff. And look, you know what? It looks like it's probably paying off for them. So Low, 2 million streams. For You, 7 million streams. Eyes, 1 million streams. Where the Flowers Never Grow, 2 million streams. Ritual, 12 million streams. Mind you, that one's been out for a long time. But, you know, clearly these songs are catching on. And, you know, if we look at the production value of some of this stuff, like, it is obvious to me that the Devil Wears Prada, you know, wants to take a step up in their, you know, career. They want these songs to reach more people. They are hook driven. They sound very radio friendly. And honestly, I think they're great songs. Some of them not really my cup of tea. For You, not my favorite shit, but it is what it is. But it's obvious to me that, you know, they are taking a different approach on this record and they want to reach a bigger audience. So anyways, back to the songs. If we take a look at the credits right here, let's view the credits right here. So written by Dalton Deal, Jeremy DePoyster, Jonathan Gehring, Kevin Thrasher, Mike Haranica. So Jeremy DePoyster, Jonathan Gehring, and Mike Haranica, the only 3 Devil Wears Prada members listed on here for credits. Let's take a look at Where the Flowers Never Grow. Let's see. So we got Bobby Linge, Jeremy DePoyster, Jonathan Gehring. For You, let's see. We got Austin Coop. So if we look up Austin Coop right here, who is Austin Coop? Well, looks like Austin Coop is a writer, producer, and mixer in Los Angeles. I think I've seen this guy on YouTube before. You know, here he is with Excide. I love Excite. I digress. It looks like this guy writes songs with other bands. Here's Mood Ring. Here's Citizen. Like, this guy clearly works with other bands. Silverstein right here. So is this uncommon for bands? You know what? This actually is not that uncommon. A lot of bands, like I said earlier, have primary songwriters within the band. But I think what is peculiar right here is Kyle Sipress, he joined the band in 2015. So if we take a look at this right here, Kyle Sipress, 2015 right here. So he joined around the time that Transit Blues came out. This was the first record that he was on, and then he wrote on The Act and Color Decay after that. So he's been on the last 3 albums, right? So it would seem that the precedent here is that Kyle does write normally. So now we get to Flowers, and it seems that he has kind of been, I don't want to say pushed out because we don't know the real details here, but it would appear that he has not had any say in this stuff, right? Totally normal. You think about Mike Hranica, founding member, Jeremy DePoyster, founding member. I don't think it's that out of pocket. I think Mike and Jeremy are really taking ownership of where they want this band to go. So is it that dramatic? I actually don't think it is. But I just think that this marks a new period in the band for the Devil Wears Prada. And you know what? It's actually not totally that crazy compared to what they've been doing, or not what they've been doing, but it kind of makes sense. When I first heard these songs, I thought, wow, this really sounds like, they are working with the singer-songwriter. So if we look at this Revolver interview right here that Jeremy did, he says, having your producer be a songwriter and player in your band is a very rare thing, he says. The only person I can think of like that is Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park. He is talking about Jonathan Gehring, who does their keyboards, who, as he's saying, writes on their songs. And this reminds me of Jordan Fish in Bring Me the Horizon. When Jordan Fish joined Bring Me the Horizon, they go to this, very obviously more commercially friendly sound in Bring Me the Horizon, and it takes them to new heights. So if Jeremy and Mike, as founding members of this band, have decided, you know what, it's time for us to take this band in a new direction and go to new heights, and they took ownership of that, I see no problem with that. Kyle, although he may be sad, I can totally relate to that. I'm a creative human as well. We want, our fingerprints on this stuff, and it may sadden him to not have that. But I'm also an adult, and I'm sure adult conversations were had. Jeremy liked that post on Instagram. I don't think there's any real drama here. I'm going to bookmark it. If we see any drama in the future, it is a little strange that, he's saying he's sad about it. He's talking about it publicly, but hey, you know what? Maybe that's how healthy their relationship actually is, that Jeremy is totally okay with him talking about it in public because they're adults and they probably had adult conversations, and the internet is probably just blowing this out of proportion. But that being said, I am just going to bookmark it because if he leaves in the future, we can probably attribute it to something like this. I personally am a big fan of this new Devil Wears Prada era. The production value has been amazing. It is much more commercial. I get it, but I think they're executing on that really well, and I'm excited to see where they go with this new album. Thanks a bunch, you guys. Come back, hang out on Twitch every Tuesday with me. You can find me on Instagram, Hardcore Dropout. See y'all soon. Peace.